Now we transition over from our Seahawks and the draft over to the Mariners, where, they've had some struggles over the course of this road trip so far in this early season. But again, I mentioned at the top of the show that this past game that they played to end out the Toronto series give you some hope moving forward that maybe they can turn some of these things around. Excuse me. So we look over here to the series against the Phillies in Philadelphia. I believe it's only the fourth time ever that Seattle has played the Phillies on the road. April 25th at the Phillies was a 5-3 win to begin the series. Our player of the game, left fielder Jared Kelenic. Kelenic, 3 hits, 1 run, and 1 RBI. April 26th at the Phillies, unable to make it 2 straight, despite the fact that J.P. Crawford did have a grand slam. Seattle lose that one 5-6. Our player of the game, of course, would be J.P. Crawford, hitting that grand slam against his former team on a 3-hit, 1-run, 4 RBI day. So it would set up the rubber match. Hopefully Seattle would come through on that one. Unfortunately not. On April 27th, they would lose that one 0-1. Pitcher George Kirby, our player of the game, is excellent through 8 innings, only allows 4 hits, only gives up 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Seattle's offense obviously not able to give him any run support, and that continues to be an issue. So that was a tough series. I mean, you look at it, Philly is a good team. They did go to the World Series last year. They're missing a bunch of players. They don't have Bryce Harper right now, and some of their players are underperforming as well. This was a winnable series. This was a very much winnable series. You look at that 5-6 game, Seattle got out to an early lead thanks to that J.P. Crawford grand slam, and they just weren't able to hold on to it. That one on April 27th, they just never put up any offense. Literally never, considering that the score was 0. So, the inconsistencies on the offensive end are just continue to be frustrating, and the reliance on the long ball continues to be a problem as well. We look over here now. So Seattle goes from Philadelphia to Toronto to play a Blue Jays team that's been excellent to begin the year, and they were able to squeak out the first 2. April 28th at the Blue Jays was a 2-3 loss. Our player of the game, catcher Cal Raleigh, 2 hits, 1 run, and 2 RBIs on the day. Seattle just unable to pull that one through. And everyone talks about, the biggest keys was they're able to win 1-run games the last few years. They were on a historic pace when it comes to those 1-run games throughout the last 2 years. That wasn't sustainable. It isn't realistic to continue to believe that they're going to be able to win that many games in 1-run situations. It was just like the bullpen the last few years. The bullpen isn't going to be as locked down as it has been in 2021 and 2022. It isn't realistic to believe that those 2 units are going to continue. Those 2 things are going to continue to happen without fault. We look at game 2 on April 29th. Another 1-0 loss. Our player of the game, starting pitcher Easton McGee. Yes, Easton McGee. He would take Chris Flexen's spot here for this rotation day, getting called up that day from AAA Tacoma, going 6 2/3 innings pitched, only allowing 1 hit on the day. It was a double by Matt Chapman, who's been excellent to begin the year. That would end his day. 1 walk and 2 strikeouts, forcing a lot of weak contact and giving the Mariners exactly what they could have asked for. This game would go into 10 innings, and the Blue Jays would walk off the Mariners. Again, no runs. It continues to be a problem. And you look at that, too, the game before. Seattle's offense has a ton of power, a ton of talent. Their hitting the last few years, though, has just been really bad. If you look at our game day posts and our stats posts the day of Mariner games, you'll look at the offensive stats, and Seattle continues to be in the bottom 10 in batting average and in OPS and in home runs. So it's like, even then, I talked about the reliance on the long ball. They haven't been hitting as many home runs compared to the rest of the league. So anyway, we go to the Sunday game that I keep mentioning, April 30th at the Blue Jays, a 10-8 win in 10 innings. Our player of the game, catcher Cal Raleigh, 2 hits, 3 runs, and 4 RBIs for a multi-homer game. This was a game where Seattle came out hot early again. Taylor Trammell, who had just been called up that day, and we'll get to that in roster-related moves, hit a grand slam on the very first pitch that he had this year in the majors after spending some rehab down in Tacoma with the Rainiers. But Seattle would give up, I believe it was an 8-run inning. I believe all those runs, no, they chipped away. At one point, the score was 8-4, so Seattle had a 4-run deficit to overcome. They slowly chipped away. Oscar Hernandez hit a solo homer Cal Raleigh hit a 2-run homer to bring them within a run. And then J.P. Crawford hit a game-tying, I believe it was a game-tying single to bring us into the extras. And then they were able to move forward. No, I could be wrong about that homer. I believe Raleigh's homer put them ahead by 2. I digress. He had a multi-homer game. But the resiliency in that one, the fight that they were able to show, the bullpen came in and didn't allow anything after the 8 runs had been put up, and Seattle's offense came and battled back. That's the kind of game, that's the kind of win that Seattle is able to take and move forward and start to build off of momentum-wise. So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that'll be true. We look at our player of the week. I went with Cal Raleigh. I mean, you look at those 2 Toronto games, really sort of needed that from Cal. He continues to terrorize the city of Toronto. It's not quite like when LeBron had that series against the Raptors and they renamed it LeBronto, but Cal Raleigh continues to terrorize Blue Jays fans inside of the Rogers Center. Over the past 6 games, Cal had 5 hits, 6 runs, 3 homers, all against the Blue Jays, 16 total bases, 6 RBIs, and 2 walks. Again, that's mostly me going with that for the Toronto series. Those are 6 very winnable games. And technically there aren't any must-win games in the month of April, but you know, some of these results, some of these close ones, these 1-run games are going to probably come back and be noticeable at the end of the season. So, yeah, you know, I look at it again. The amount of 1-run games that Seattle was able to win last year is just not realistic to expect that's going to continue to happen. I saw it's like, oh, this is a big key for Seattle. You know, they got to find that magic. That magic wasn't sustainable. It was largely that magic. You know, a lot of instances of luck. Seattle needs to be better consistently to not have to worry about that luck factoring in. Especially considering, you know, the injuries that they're dealing with. Robbie Ray's out for the season. Julio Rodriguez left the game on the 29th with lower back tightness. He said he was going to be fine. He didn't play in the game on the 30th, likely as precaution, considering the fact that they get today off. And they will start the next series tomorrow in Oakland. Oakland, maybe soon Las Vegas. So I don't know. Again, these things they're not, the issues with the Mariners aren't anything new. You know, the hitting issues have been existent since the 2021 season when they almost made it to the playoffs, and even in 2022 when they did make the playoffs, right? I mean, look at the 18-inning game against the Astros. 18 innings, no run. That's 2 games. That's 2 games. And then you look at these games over the past week. 5-3 win. Okay, you lost 5-6. 5 runs, fine. You lost 0-1. That's not acceptable. You lost 2-3. Again, 2 runs. Come on. You lost 0-1. 0 runs. Not acceptable. 10-8. Okay. You see what I mean? Inconsistency there. You go from 0 runs to 10. So, you know, again, the issues aren't necessarily new. The starting pitching continues to be pretty darn good. Marco Gonzalez had a rough game in that Sunday game. After, you know, the last few starts he had before that, he was pitching pretty well. So, you know, it's hard to put much of any consistent blame on the starting pitching, considering the fact that they've been so good and they're so often the reason that you're in games. And although the Mariners' defensive play has seen some issues to begin the year, they're still ranked around the top of the league in terms of total defense. So it's not like the defense is dragging this team down either. It's the hitting that continues to be the major issue. So, anyway, sorry to get so strong on you there. We move over here. Before we get to the City Connect jerseys, we're going to go over some roster-related things. On the 29th, the team recalled Easton McGee, as I mentioned, from AAA Tacoma right before that game, and he would get the start that day. Reliever and right-hander Diego Castillo was optioned to AAA Tacoma that day, which was post-game April 28th. So Diego has seen some struggles, and he will go down to Tacoma, I believe, to just really kind of figure things out, just like Matt Fest has been doing. On the 30th of April, Taylor Trammell was reinstated from the 10-day injured list with a right hamate fracture that he suffered at the very beginning of spring training, and he is back, as you can see here, with this photo from Matthew Bermudez from last season. And then Easton McGee, the guy who the day before had an excellent outing, was placed on the 15-day injured list with a right forearm strain. So he was able to go those 6 2/3 innings pitched with only 1 hit allowed with a right forearm strain, which, I mean, huge effort there from Easton McGee. So that leads us to the City Connect. And the City Connect, there was this big speculation of what it might be. There was the leak. That leak ended up being true to what the actual City Connect was. There was a bunch of wondering what the City Connect would be, because there's been some City Connects around MLB that are kind of hit and miss, some that a lot of people love. Since I saw the leak, it's slowly grown on me, and I really do enjoy it. You know, after recording here, I might go to the team store and try to grab some stuff. But we'll go through the photos here. Pardon me as I stutter. We'll go through the photos here, and I'll read you some of the background, some of the reasons why the Mariners went with some of the picks that they did. So firstly, we'll go here with this photo of Julio. So the Trident cap that you see, well, this photo here of Luis Castillo better exemplifies it. The Trident cap, so the beloved and iconic Mariners Trident, has been modernized to signify an aggressive new era of Mariners baseball. The cap consists of a rush blue crown, that's the blue that you're seeing that Luis is wearing, and a black visor, the first time that this color combination has been used for an on-field cap in Seattle baseball history. We'll look at the piping here. Let's see if, yeah, Julio's kind of got the piping. Let's see if, we'll go with Julio. The piping detail that you can see is a fresh take on the uniform piping used by both the Seattle Pilots, Seattle's first, not Seattle's first, one of the first baseball teams in the city that eventually would move to Milwaukee and become the Brewers. That used to play where the Lowe's and Rainier are, right where Rainier is. So that's the Seattle Pilots. Some nod there. The colors that you can see, that rush blue, that's the primary color, and the yellows. The rush blue is the blue that they're calling. The yellows that are using are sundown is the lighter yellow, and amarillo, or the darker yellow, capture the essence of the Mariners and the Seattle Pilots' original colors. The black that you're seeing and the black in the pants there is used as a nod to the 1940s Seattle Steelheads uniforms. So the Mariners, a big reason around so many of the nods with these City Connect jerseys are nods to former baseball historical teams in the Seattle area. And it's great to see that the Mariners are making that nod to the Negro Leagues, to the Seattle Steelheads, after many people have wanted the Seattle Steelheads jerseys to be somewhat in the rotation. So they get a piece of that taste here. We'll continue with some of the history. We'll go back here to this. You see that big Pacific Northwest logo, the Pacific Northwest patch, the mountain, Mount Rainier, the centerpiece of the patch, a celebration of the Pacific Northwest and the Mariners. That PNW is underlined to signify the energy and exuberance of the region's great outdoors. Hard to not like that. The leaf embellishments, aka scrambled eggs, memorably appeared on the 1969 Seattle Pilots caps, and are incorporated on the edge of the patch to honor our region's maritime and aviation industries, which, I mean, that's hard not to agree with there. You can kind of see it in the photo. They're kind of lighter on those uniforms, which the maritime stuff, that's right up our alley. The jersey font there that you can see, we'll go with this photo of Eugenio. Seattle is stitched across the chest of the rush blue. The lettering style is evocative of the Seattle Pilots. Again, continuing to nod towards the Pilots. The drop shadow on the Seattle is a cap tip to the similar drop shadow used by the 1955 Pacific Coast League champion Rainiers. So again, continuing with that Seattle history. The drop shadow is used to create dimension and depth to signify Seattle's grit and determination. We don't quite have a photo of it here. Shoot. But on the jersey, there's a logo of two tridents crossed on each other and words over it that says Soto Mojo. The popular phrase Soto Mojo is inside the jersey collar. Oh, inside. Okay. As a celebration of the Soto neighborhood, the Mariners have always called home. Two gold tridents point skyward, forming W's. The first W represents our state of Washington, home to every team that's been highlighted across this jersey that I've mentioned. The second W is for wins and to represent the W that the team lights up on the T-Mobile Park roof after every victory. You can't see it here, unfortunately, because they've got it tucked. But at the bottom, well, we're going to stick on this photo because Logan and Cal. I mean, come on. Those guys look great. The My Oh My is right under the engineered tag of the Nike jersey. No three words are associated more with the Seattle Mariners than Hall of Fame broadcaster Dave Niehause's famous phrase, My Oh My. The signature call could be heard during every Mariners broadcast from the club's first year starting in 1977 through 2010. Dave's descriptive and colorful calls were beloved by Mariners fans throughout the Northwest for over 3 decades. It's only fitting that his spirit is part of the first City Connect jersey for this Mariners team. Really quickly here, I think they're great. I wasn't too sure at first, the Trident. I haven't always been big on the Trident. You talk about the superstition of the Trident, and Seattle not having so many great years there, but the nods to the Steelheads and the Pilots and the Pacific Coast League Rainiers, that's excellent. That's great, and the tip of the cap to Dave Niehaus there. I grew up listening to Dave Niehaus. He's a big reason why I got into Mariners baseball and why I love the game of baseball so much. So I personally enjoy it a lot. Let me know what you think about it. I'd like to hear the different takes and opinions on this. A lot of the discourse when it first dropped was that it was one of the better City Connect jerseys across MLB. Again, I'm hoping to hit the Mariners team store after we get done with recording here and maybe grab some things. I think it's great. I think it's solid. Let me know what you think, though, about these City Connect jerseys. We'll end here with this photo of Eugenio giving the good vibes. Again, I really enjoy it. I think they did a good job. So anyway, we'll continue back here to the realism and the schedule of the team. Seattle sits at a 12-win, 16-loss record, fourth in the American League West. Still, they're battling through it. Next up, they finish out their 9-game road trip, 3-team road trip down in Oakland, down in the Coliseum, where the Possum is in the away studio, the away broadcast booth. If you haven't heard that, there is a possum living in the away broadcast booth at the Coliseum, and they have not removed it yet. May 2nd at the Athletics is when the series begins with a 6:40 p.m. first pitch. Game 2, May 3rd, a 6:40 p.m. first pitch as well. May 4th at the Athletics to wrap up the series, and a getaway game to get back home is at 12:37 p.m. Pacific. Then the next day, Friday, May 5th, the Mariners will host the Houston Astros for the first time this season for a 3-game stretch. May 5th is also when they will debut that City Connect jersey that I just showed you with a first pitch time of 7:10 p.m. May 6th versus the Astros on that Saturday game is a 6:40 p.m. pitch. And then May 7th, the Sunday game is a 1:10 p.m. first pitch. We'll get over there. Apologies on that. We continue here with the division. It's the first time we're going to see these guys. We're going to see these teams a lot less, considering the new MLB schedule that sees every team play every team throughout the course of the year. So it'll mean that these games against Houston and Oakland are more important, considering tiebreakers and such. So you got to be able to take care of business in that time. And it'll be exciting to see the City Connect jerseys on the field as well. So that'll be big for the Mariners as they continue on through the season. Again, lots of things to try and improve upon, mainly the hitting. But, again, that Sunday win does give you a lot of hope in terms of what this team can do going forward. And you're just hoping that that's the case and, we don't hit any more hiccups with that.